So we've got meaning, we've got purpose, we've talked about the difference between the two, we've talked about potential sources of meaning and purpose. Now we'll talk a little bit about barriers. So what's getting in the way? What is getting in the way of your ability or one's ability to find or discover or create value and purpose? And the list can be quite long. So what's getting in the way of finding value? There are lots. Societal pressure. How does societal pressure potentially get in the way of your ability to discover or create meaning or purpose? How?
They keep saying no.
They keep saying no, don't do it? Yeah, totally. Were you gonna jump in too? Yeah. I mean, both of your answers are close. So essentially oftentimes if you've been online lately or you're active on social media, you're gonna get a lot of pressure from a lot of different individuals and groups telling you should do something or you shouldn't do this, and it's coming at you from multiple angles. And that noise, that external noise that we hear, can often block or prevent us from maybe pursuing something that has the potential to generate meaning and also fuel purpose. So it depends on what you mean by capitalism. Capitalism is a big. Yeah, that is a very complex and big system at play there, and I feel like we would need a whole course to potentially go through the ins and outs and figure out exactly what it is that's blocking individuals from pursuing or finding or creating meaning or purpose. Either way, pressure from society, pressure from family and friends too. That also could potentially come into play. So definitely could potentially block or make it harder to cultivate meaning and or purpose. Lack of self-reflection. This is sort of linked to societal pressure. So part of the reason why we dedicate time at the end of class for you to complete your self-reflection posts is because, let's face it, how often do you feel the need to sit down and spend 20 or 30 minutes just listening to your thoughts and reflecting on what's going on? How easy is it for us all to do, if we're honest with each other? I'm seeing most of you are giving me the, I probably should be doing more of it, and I don't, because I don't have time, or I just get distracted by a variety of different things. Thank you. So the lack of self-reflection, it doesn't give us a chance to hear maybe some subconscious thoughts that may be there, but they're quiet. And they may give us information, they may feed us information that help us find or discover or create more meaning, for sure. Fear. How does fear make it harder for us to discover or create meaning or purpose? Yeah. Yeah, that's a big one. Fear of failure. Let's be honest. What does failure feel like? Sucks, right? Failure, but there's a lot of different ways that you can look at it. One of my favorite quotes, I'm not sure if it's directly attributed to him. As you may all know, I'm a big Habs fan. It's the coach of the Montreal Canadiens, Marty St. Louis, and he tells his players, it's not failure, it's fertilizer. That's how he spins it. It's one way to look at it, right? But yeah, fear can absolutely prevent us from discovering or creating meaning and or purpose, for sure. Because you might fail, you may lose something, or something that maybe currently holds value for you. If you end up going down this road of discovering something new, you may lose something. That's heavy. Like that's high stakes. They often talk about it's humans, we're often more sensitive to loss aversion than potentially gaining something new. We don't want to lose something that we know we already have. It's a very, very common psychological phenomena. So yeah, fear is a big one, definitely. So this one I'm going to just gently touch on because I'm not a clinical psychologist or a trauma expert. But trauma can absolutely also create barriers to meaning and purpose. One thing that I will point out for that is if anybody is knowingly or maybe even unknowingly experiencing that, I highly, highly encourage you all to take advantage of Fanshaw's counseling services. I know some of the counselors, they're very, very good. They can help you disconnect or figure out what that is that's preventing you from finding value in various other parts of your life. But it is a very, very complicated, intricate topic, which I am not even close to being qualified to go into detail on. But the counselors at Fanshawe are, so I would encourage you to seek them out. It's included in your tuition. It's free. You don't have to pay $190 an hour to go see somebody out in the city. Okay, well, I'm glad I didn't say this for years and then it comes back to haunt me. Okay, either way, still definitely good to at least do that initial consult, and then they can direct you to the appropriate services. And I think there's probably loads of options available too, not just individual, but group stuff. Either way, and some are free. Either way, the only way to find out is to go and check it out and ask. And the next one, disconnection and loneliness, is linked to some of these as well. So we talked about how meaning, especially meaning that we discover from the collective group sense. You can't discover meaning from the collective group sense being in a group if you're all by yourself. It's very, very difficult to do that. So if you're disconnected and you're feeling very lonely, it's tough to find value, especially if we're going to focus on relationships with other people. So that's another big piece. And then finally, life transitions. So this last one links closely to what we discussed earlier about meaning and purpose throughout life stages. So from early adolescence, when you're young, to midlife, to end of life. What kind of life transitions may put a barrier or a roadblock into finding value out of life? What do you think I mean by a life transition? Yeah.
Like death of a loved one?
Yeah, death of a loved one's probably the most popular. So you think of a loved one that is taken away. It's like in a relationship with someone that held so much value and so much meaning is gone. It's almost like you're left sort of flailing a little bit, thinking, how do I rediscover that meaning that used to be there? Yeah.
Moving out of your parents' house.
Oh, huge transition. Moves. Not just moving out of your parents' house, but a move in general. Even if you're just moving to one part of the city to another part of the city, you're uprooting everything and changing. That absolutely is going to create a whole bunch of stress for sure. And maybe certain aspects or certain things that held value while you were in this one home, now you can't take them with you. So how do I possibly rediscover or recreate that meaning or purpose that was there before? Definitely. Anything else that comes to mind? Divorce or marriage, yeah, but two sides of the coin, definitely. Yeah, when you get married, you're marrying, you're taking everything of a potential partner, right? And then obviously when if you choose to end that marriage, you're separating more than just the relationship. You're separating a lot. That can be very, very difficult. And when you're faced with an event such as that, or any other major life transition, whether it be more positive or more on the negative side, that's a lot. And it can be hard to find that consistent source of meaning and purpose as a result, for sure. So the reason why I bring these up, my job as your instructor isn't to necessarily tell you what to do. My job is to bring them to your attention, because these some of them may apply to you, some of them may not. But I'm hoping you can take the possible sources of meaning and value that we discussed, and sit on them and reflect on them and think about what it is that you place higher value on and finding ways to realize that value as a result. A few more questions. So the question is, what is the foundational role that meaning and purpose play in the pursuit of wellness? And ultimately, meaning and purpose serve as a foundation on which wellness is built. In order to engage in processes that you freely and deliberately choose geared towards improving your well-being, you need to have some kind of value. There needs to be something that is helping you get through this in the first place. Because if you had zero value, if life had zero meaning and there's no value, then why bother doing this? Why bother pursuing wellness if life had no meaning? For sure. And then, yeah, definitely not only relevant during times of crisis. Meaning and purpose can play a very important role during mundane day-to-day activities and also during times of joy. They can definitely play a role. And yes, definitely not optional enhancements. They are a foundation, very, very important. So this question talks about collectivist cultures. So really emphasizing group identity, which is more closely tied to Frankl's lens when it comes to meaning and purpose. So yeah, they definitely tend to put a lot of weight and emphasis on communal traditions, shared responsibility as a source of meaning or as a source of value for not just the group, but the individual as well. So these ones here, individual self-expression, economic achievement and independence, again, these are more the individualist approach, which is more linked to Nietzsche. And then obviously, you don't want to reject, that sentence doesn't really make any sense, to be honest. I just threw it in there to see who'd bite, but nobody did, so that's positive. It's going to come down to the last question. So we talked a couple of times in today's class about the death of a loved one, not just necessarily a human, but could be a pet, could be a plant, could be a number of different things. How would it affect someone's sense of meaning? So I've been sort of saying the same thing over and over again in today's class, but whenever you see meaning, when you see meaning, think value, like what is valuable. So how might it affect someone's sense of value? And yeah, when you lose someone or lose something, it absolutely will potentially cause you to reevaluate. So now you have to ask yourself, well, if this valuable piece has been taken away from me, what else in my life has meaning? What else in my life has value? And that's a process that can be uncomfortable. It's a process that can take time, and it's a process that can be messy. You may be going a little bit back and forth, but it just means that you may need to spend a little bit of time reflecting on that and searching or creating what that may look like. Cool. Any questions about meaning, purpose, where sources of meaning and purpose may come from, and things that may be getting in the way? These are all available on the course textbook, in addition to some knowledge check questions. If you've had a chance to take a peek at those, I would encourage you to do so. And now we can properly do the self-reflection piece for this course. 2 weeks ago, it was a little bit rushed for time, but now we're going to get lots of time to do it. So just like last week, we're going to do the same thing. For those of you who are not here last week, I'll go through it again. So I'm going to set a timer for 20 minutes. You are going to sit in silence with yourself. You can use your computer, you can use a notepad, however you want to do it. And you're going to reflect. You're going to see if you hear some thoughts or things that are related to the content, or you can see if any of these questions resonate with you. So you don't have to answer these questions. You may look at all 5 of these questions and go, nothing is coming to mind. In that case, you can pull an audible and just write down maybe something that we talked about in today's class that resonated with you or that stuck with you and how it connects to the course content. But if you're someone who needs a bit of direction and one of these questions does stand out to you, I would encourage you to pick it and unpack it a little bit.